Please welcome U.S. Senate Banking Committee Chairman Tim Scott and Fox Business Network senior correspondent Charles Gasparino.
Morning, Charles.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
Full disclosure, I am a constituent.
Oh my, that means you're my boss, in other words. Oh my goodness.
Just so you know, I was born in the Bronx. I grew up in New York. The last place I'd ever thought I'd end up is South Carolina. If you told me 30 years ago, you're going to end up in South Carolina, buy a house, and love it.
So far, so good?
It's great. Now, tell me, how did you convince so many people like me to get down there? Because if you look at any map now, South Carolina might be the fastest growing state, right?
100%. Per capita, we are the number one state in the nation for population growth. As a matter of fact, if I had my druthers, I would probably choose who gets to come.
But I make the cut.
You'd make the cut. You make the cut.
Okay.
One of the things we have, great beaches, sand, sunshine, friendly people, amazing food, and a pretty high quality of living. And so we're seeing a lot of folks move to South Carolina. We've also seen with the incredible growth in Florida, we call folks halfbacks. They move from New York down to Florida. Too many storms, they move halfway back to South Carolina. So we're seeing a lot of growth in South Carolina.
I interviewed Governor DeSantis. I wish I knew that halfback line, because that would be a good one. A good business climate, too.
Tremendous. I mean, we have seen such an explosion. It's really started back in 2009 when people saw the largest economic announcement in America was Boeing making the decision to move their operations, major part of their operations, to Charleston. Right. And since then, we've seen, just last year, Google made the decision to build a $9 billion data center in Dorchester County, in the Tri-County area, the Charleston metropolitan area. You've seen one of the largest EV companies, battery companies, move to South Carolina. BMW, their largest presence on the planet, is in South Carolina. The port of Charleston, $3 trillion of business. Ross Perot Jr. has a location in South Carolina. So we have a lot of firepower for the state of our size, because we are not just business friendly, we are actually hunting for the next big thing.
Will you cut the income tax ever? Like, get rid of it?
As a matter of fact, there's a number,
I would love you to do that, by the way.
100%. And so I think one of the challenges that we have in South Carolina is that we still have an income tax that's just too high. If you look at states like Tennessee and Texas, Florida, our major competitors, they've taken their, especially Tennessee recently, down to zero. My goal is to see our next governor focus on this issue. I'm encouraging all the gubernatorial candidates to take seriously. If you want to attract even more business to South Carolina, you've got to eliminate the income tax. And I served in the State House for 2 years, and one of the things I recognized then was that we have these sacred cows in South Carolina where they've had so many preferential treatments from a tax perspective, that getting the tax code to be fair, it's difficult because the folks who are the sacred cows, they don't want to give it up yet.
What's a sacred cow in South Carolina? Now that I'm a constituent, I'd love to know.
Yeah, good example. If you buy a $100,000 Lexus, or if you buy a $20,000 Toyota, the sales tax is $300.
Okay.
In most places, the sales tax is consistent with the value of the vehicle. In South Carolina, it's set at $300, which is to the disadvantage of every other person paying taxes. In other words, the more times you take something off the tax roll, someone else has to absorb that tax.
Right.
There's no magic in taxation. Someone's going to pay it. The only question is, how do you do it?
And it's a consumption tax, as it should be.
Exactly.
Income tax. You are also, as most people know, the chairman of the banking committee. You played a key role in moving Kevin Warsh out of committee to the full Senate. He'll be, I assume, on a party line vote at least, confirmed as Fed chair.
Yep.
Very soon. Jerome Powell, the man he's replacing, much to the chagrin of Mr. Trump,
yes,
is staying on. What do you think about that? Staying on as Fed governor.
Yeah.
It is in the law that he can do it.
Yeah, so he can stay to the end of 2028, or maybe middle of January 31st, 2028 is when he would have to get off. The truth of the matter is he's breaking 75 years of precedent. Every time you get a new chairman, the former chairman leaves. That's good news, because what you don't want are these philosophies in conflict. And I think Jay Powell is making a significant mistake, significant decision, but really bad one. I think for the country and for the Fed, it would be best if he left.
Right, because the Fed, as you know, the chairman doesn't have unilateral control, right?
Yep.
He, just for people that don't know this, he has to rule by some sort of consensus.
Exactly.
And he would be there. So how do you get rid of him?
Prayer. Lord, we need some prayer on this issue. Honestly, I think it's going to be his decision. All signs point to his departure before 28, but I do think he's maybe just poking the president in the eye a little bit.
So the reason why he's staying, he's saying, well, listen, you still got this bogus investigation of me going on. Well, it's no longer at the DOJ. It's now with the Fed Inspector General. And, I can't leave unless you get rid of that investigation.
Well, actually, the good news is the DOJ role is over.
Right.
The one thing we were able to do, and we worked on this for a long time, we give a lot of credit to Jay Clayton,
right,
actually, who's the U.S. Attorney in the Second Southern District.
Know him well.
A smart dude, former SEC chairman. He really worked with us to find the path where we would take a criminal investigation and send it over to the IG, so that the IG, having all the tools necessary to do a thorough investigation, would get done. And if there's a necessity for a criminal referral, it'll happen. But the truth of the matter is that, having been the person asking the question.
Yeah, you were key to asking the question about the Taj Mahal on the
exactly
wall, the redo of the Fed headquarters, which some say was over, came in way over budget. You asked the question.
Exactly. And I saw no criminal intent. I saw nothing that was someone who's unprepared without any question,
right,
but any criminal nature whatsoever, none at all. So,
do you think there was negligence in the building, in the cost of that thing?
It is certainly incredibly over budget, but the one thing we should do is give the IG an opportunity to dig into all the information to figure it out. I don't know what were the change orders, don't know why. I don't really understand the entire process. And one of the things that we were hunting when we were looking at it was, why do we need a beehive garden at the top? So there were aspects of the renovations that were challenging to absorb as a taxpayer. The question, however, goes beyond whether or not they were building what they had designed. The question is, why were the costs so exorbitant? And we don't have the answer. The only way to get the answer to that question is to have the IG. We all have confidence in Horowitz to do his work. That requires patience, something we're not really well known for.
Yeah, I know. One solution I heard was to take away his various privileges, to convince Mr. Powell to leave, maybe get rid of his parking space, put his office in the basement. I've heard that from legitimate people. Is that,
right,
are people talking about that seriously?
Yeah, I think the biggest opportunity to get Jay Powell to leave is just truth. Truth is, you don't want your predecessor having impact on the Federal Reserve.
And he will if he stays.
100%.
Yeah.
If you believe in the independence of the Fed, then Jay Powell himself needs to leave. It is in the best interest of the country and the Fed for us to have a Fed focused on their dual mandate and not on who's in charge, who has influence.
Right. People forget Jerome Powell veered off into very political areas. ESG was a big one.
And climate. I mean, the truth of the matter is, when you look at the two out of the three biggest bank failures in American history, SVB being one of them, Silicon Valley Bank, was an interest rate issue. It was a liquidity issue. Unfortunately, even with 31 plus MRAs, the Fed's oversight they were distracted. Was they distracted by ESG, climate change? I don't know. What we do know is that their eye wasn't on the ball at SVB. It was something that was easy to see. They had written tons of notes about it, but no action was taken. And that's one of the reasons why, even when Mickey Bowman came over to the Fed, and now the Vice Chair of Supervision, one of the first questions I asked her was, help me understand how we're going to prevent future challenges like this. And one of the most important things was, let's change the players on the field, let's change the playbook, and let's change the leadership. If she had just said one of the three, it would have been hard for me. But the fact that she recognized that you have to have not only a change in the leadership, she becomes the Vice Chair of Supervision, change in the playbook, what we're going to do as it relates to our focus, but the people going into the institutions have to be different as well. And that's how we make sure that once the MRA is written, there's follow-up. Leadership and the players on the field make a big difference.
You're in the banking committee, so you have a special interest in this. How did we get to a place where people were debanked based on political beliefs? I mean, Donald Trump's businesses were debanked after he left office in the first term. Melania was debanked, I believe.
Yes.
I actually broke a few stories about this, and, you know, people at JP Morgan and Bank of America were pretty honest. They said, listen, we debanked them based on pressure from the Biden administration.
Yes.
How is that legal in any stretching imagination? And by the way, it wasn't just political. Heterodox businesses like crypto were debanked.
Yeah, listen, frankly, the oil and gas industry was debanked as well. Disfavored parts of our economy being debanked is just immoral, in my opinion, and unethical. You think back to the original conversation on debanking, it happened more than 60 years ago. Right. We called it redlining. Redlining then was just about debanking. Who was out of favor in the society, had no access. There are institutions today that are still paying $100 million plus fines for the redlining that they're doing even in the 2000s. And so when you see it happen again, as opposed to it being a racial conversation, now it's whether we like your business or not. That is a problem that we should solve quickly. It's one of the reasons why my committee passed my FIRM Act, which allows for us to identify the debanking challenges and eliminate it, purge it out of the system. The Federal Reserve has already embraced it. OCC's done it as well. And so we're in better shape than we have been, but we should never allow for either administration, Republicans or Democrats, to pick and choose who they like and then take them out of business. That's just wrong. And so we've got legislation that's done it. We have actions in the administration that's doing the exact same thing. So I'm happy about where we are now. I'd like to make that legislation law. It should be a bipartisan coalition support.
I was going to ask you about that because it's one thing for the OCC, the Office of Control of Currency, which was kind of at the forefront, this tip of the spear on the debanking, to say, okay, we're going to change the rules, no more reputational risk mandates. But, you know, new administration, new OCC, new Fed, you know.
Yeah.
Why aren't people just coming together on legislation on this? It seems so cut and dry.
Yeah, we passed my legislation on reputational risk and debanking, passed the Senate, but it passed the Senate Banking Committee on a partisan vote. My hope is that as we get beyond this election cycle, we go into the lame duck session, we'll have an opportunity to actually do the right thing as it relates to debanking, because ultimately you don't want redlining in any shape or form, period. Be it racial or disfavored business opportunities in this country. And frankly, we should make decisions based on credit scores. Will they pay it back? Not on whether we like you or not.
Well, speaking about deep banking, one industry that still doesn't get banked, major banked, is the cannabis industry.
Yes.
And President Trump just reclassified marijuana as from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, meaning it's no longer considered on a federal level, not state. A lot of states basically legalized or decriminalized it. So on a federal level, it's now no longer like heroin. It's now kind of like Tylenol with codeine. Still, the pot industry can't get banked. Do you think that should change?
Well, being agnostic about the it.
I am too, although I did try.
I'm not agnostic. I got a strong opinion.
I tried a gummy once.
I have not. But I will tell you this, in my opinion, how was it?
You know,
you can plead the fifth if you need to, by the way.
Let me give you my pot experience. I haven't smoked anything since I was like 17, and I'm quite older than 17 right now.
She's videoing you, so make sure you tell the truth, because we're going to go back in your records and figure it out.
I was an athlete, so I didn't do it really that much. I tried it. Okay, so I did a gummy recently, and I did not like the feeling.
Yeah.
Now, I work out a lot. I had shoulder pain. I used a gel, and it worked phenomenally.
Huh.
There seems to be a medical I can see the medical rationale here. Maybe not. We don't want a nation of stoners, right? I mean, because this stuff is kind of antithetical to getting up in the morning and working out and doing God's work.
Yeah.
Right?
I just want to hear what you had to say. I haven't tried it, but I will say that the If we were going to have a conversation about marijuana, we'd have a different conversation. We could have it about the synthetic nature of marijuana and how it's 300% stronger than it was naturally. Yes. That's a different conversation. The real conversation we're having, though, is about access to the banking system. The answer to the access to the banking system is that Congress is going to have to make it legal, because today, even though the president has declassified it or reduced its impact, the truth is it is still illegal. Therefore, the banking system cannot allow access to our federal banking system. You can on the state level, but on the federal level, until it becomes a legal conversation, until that's solved.
Will it be solved?
I think it will. There's something called the Safe Banking Act, which is to allow for the banking question to be solved by making it legal to bank it. Because what you don't want, and this is the other part of the quandary, is what you don't want is to have a situation where you have these cash rooms where you have hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash sitting in a location. Right. Everyone knows you can't bank it, and therefore the criminal activity is much higher in these places. So there is a quandary that we have to solve. I think we'll get to a solution.
How about crypto? The Clarity Act is moving slowly. It's getting through. Where are we going to see that?
Yeah, it's becoming clear, which is good news. I think we are sitting on the cusp of seeing the actual markup happen sometime in the next few weeks. So 3 to 5 weeks, I think we'll be on the other side of it. In my opinion, for us to have a successful passage of the Clarity Act, we have to first make sure that all Republicans are on the right page, because until we have that, we won't get it done, because Democrats today want to do nothing to help Donald Trump.
And as you know, they're holding some of this up. I mean, they just got some clarity on the yield on the stable coins.
Yes.
There can be some yield. Banks fought back on, making it equal to, I guess, bank deposits, so they have some compromise there. But the one thing that's holding up is Democrats want to make an issue of Trump's own crypto, or his companies.
Yeah, so there's basically 4 or 5 outstanding issues around the Clarity Act. One you just mentioned, which would be the issues of ethics, which of course is not in the banking committee, that we have an ethics committee that would have to take that on. But at the end of the day, the Democrats want to make sure that everyone from the president down have to live by the same rules of the road as relates to market structure. Number 2, the issue of quorum, making sure that both the CFTC and the SEC, they have a quorum so they can do business there. Number 3 would be the issue of rewards. The compromise came out, and the fact of the matter is that the banks kind of were apoplectic. I would not say that the response of the banks in the last 24 hours has been positive, warm response. It's been like, OMG, so not very good so far. But the compromise put in place, what we wanted to make sure is that if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it might be a duck. So we wanted to make sure that a savings account and your stable coins are treated differently, because they are very different. Number 1, savings accounts are fractional tools. Yeah. You have a fractional investment in the background. Number 2, stable coins are dollar for dollar. It helps our treasuries as well. So solving that problem.
The stable coins invest in treasuries.
Yes, dollar for dollar.
We got a minute left. I'm getting the red light here. Midterms, real quick, what do you think?
Yes. Midterms will be in the majority. Republicans will stay in the majority.
In the Senate?
In the Senate, for sure. I think we have a lot of work to do. It'll take a lot of money. It'll be the most expensive midterms ever. I would suggest that Susan Collins will be successful in Maine. North Carolina is a challenging state for us, but I think Michael Whatley will be successful. Holding our 3 top-tier seats would be Iowa, Ohio, 2 major races that we have to be successful, and then Alaska. You do that, we're in the majority. I think it will be in the majority.
House not too tough one, right?
Thankfully, I'm in the Senate, running the Senate for re-elections. I think the House is a different story. It's a challenging situation without any question, but we'll see what happens there. There's a sliver of hope, but there's a lot of firepower right now against the House.
It would be malpractice if I didn't ask this. Are you ever going to run for president? You ran once, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
It was a short run, but I did run once. It was a great experience. 2023. Who knows the future? I don't know the future. One thing I will say is that it is such a gift from the good Lord and the American people to serve in the United States Senate. I can't think of a better country to serve than America. This country, as challenging as the politics is today, is the greatest story on the planet.
We're lucky to have you.
Thanks, Charles.
Thanks, Senator.
Good to be with you.
We hope you enjoyed the discussion. The next panel will begin shortly.